It's true. I just think it's like, I guess here's what's frustrating me. Who even likes the show? I guess that's why I really shouldn't be that upset. It's like I don't know. I had a lot of trouble binging it before, and I think everyone has that experience when they watch. I'm very interested in like the Amazing Race super fans and like what they see in the show that I don't. It's a fun show to watch. I'm not even like being annoying. Like I'm just curious like what you enjoy about it. Like what is the appeal? Because I think Amazing Race in my head works best as like a feel good family show. You know what I mean? Like a feel good watch some like storylines develop through the season of like a couple getting closer or brothers getting over something. You know what I mean? Like I think that's what it should be. I think if it becomes too strategic, like if it becomes full blown strategic, that's fun too. But like the nature of the race, it can never really be that. You know, the ability to see the world from your couch when most people never see it in person. What's not to get? Maybe I'm privileged of just being able to travel a little bit more. Um, but yeah, you guys should tune in though. From what I heard about the season, there should be a lot going on, a lot of drama. If you like Big Brother, um, it seems like a no brainer to me. I see people fight with each other. I hopefully they lean into that for the Big Brother season. You think they would because that's like the whole appeal of bringing Big Brother people on is like that dynamic. But I think it is the kind of show where they like want to stray away from that sometimes. You know. Thank you, Lexi, for the 20 months. Anita for the 19. C. Beth for the 22. Cowboy for the 4 months. And Jim Pierre for the 21. Thank you all. The places they go, the cultures they learn about, it's amazing. If you get some drama from it, it's a bonus. To each their own. You know, I don't. I think it's a well produced show. I don't have any. Here's, I guess, my one thing with it is like 90 minutes is crazy. I think it should be a 60-minute block. I think Big Brother could be 90 minutes, but I don't think it should be. I think Survivor 90 minutes kind of makes sense with three tribes. But I think in general, like, I think the 90-minute episodes might have been a mistake. I think like I wish it was like Game of Thrones where the directors, producers just had as much time as they wanted for every episode. And I understand that's impractical because scheduling. But like Survivor, sometimes 90-minute episodes feels brutal. And other times it's like, thank God.
Yeah. Yesterday's episode was low key ass.
Yeah, did people like the premiere? People
Yeah.
like Rizzo?
Mm.
It was Nicole who went home, right? I'm scared I'm getting I'm scared I'm getting like old person survivor opinions these days. Where it's like survivor casting does feel too one note. I think the idea of like, oh my god, too many super fans, too many underdogs, too many losers, too many nerds, that's stupid. But I do think like there needs to be a little bit more diversity in terms of like the vibes of the people they cast. You know? And I know I understand that's like hard to pin down. It's like, what the fuck do you mean, Corey? But I do think there's like one all encapsulating vibe that Survivor has now that I think just makes it very samey to watch. America had a good comment yesterday where she's like, damn, every season's the fucking same. And I think obviously just the structure of the new era leans into that as well with it's always three tribes and it's always like the same colors and it's always the same premiere and it's always the same everything. It's so interesting. Like I don't know why. Like I feel like after 40, their whole thing was let's deviate away from the formula. But then they made the most rigid formula ever to follow after that. You know what I mean? Also, I'm genuinely not spoiled at all Like, I mean that. But, like, Savannah has to win, right? Like, that edit yesterday was insane. I was barely even watching, and I was like, what the hell? I was like, where are these confessionals coming from? Why does Savannah look familiar? I don't know. She's giving me D vibes in terms of you know, the edit. Just from the premiere. I hope after 50 they loosen up a bit. Yeah, you just gotta mix it up. Keep the audience on their toes a bit. And I just hate six-person tribes. There was an era where it was awesome. You know, season 28 and 32 and 35 was... Eh. They don't have themed seasons anymore. Yeah, themed seasons are fun. I kind of wish they did that. I don't know why in the new era they landed on it has to be 47, 48, 49, the numbers. It's just kind of lame. All right, let's talk Big Brother, because I'm actually very fascinated by this Final Four. I'm very fascinated by, frankly, all three of the Final Three players. And, you know, we don't know. Ava's theoretically blowing up the house right now. I don't know if she truly understands how this works. You know what I mean? Like, does Ava know that she's not going to have that much time to do anything during the live episode? I hope she knows that, because that would be pathetic if she just doesn't get the chance to. I assume production would, like, tell her. Maybe just call her in the DR and be like, hey, the show's starting soon, so, you know. Is Vinny the Lip a top 10 player of the season? Yes. Okay, Olivia, I want to talk about this, because I saw some posts on Reddit that were pissing me off. Are the judges, like, one of the most dominant alliances in Big Brother history? Oh, I'm heated. It's not an alliance. Like, it's an alliance in the same way the Quack Pack's an alliance, right? Where, like, it's real to one person, or, like, the judge is even less real. It's, like, Morgan's way of maneuvering through the game. Which leads me to Morgan, who I think is one of the most interesting players in recent seasons to discuss, because, like, how good is Morgan? Now, you have to put it in the perspective of, like, most Big Brother players are really bad, right? Like, it's not like there's a ton of players better than Morgan, because most players are really bad. That's the nature of 24-hour live feeds, the nature of casting, all that. My thing with Morgan is, like, was her game really impressive outside of competition wins? Here's what I'll give her. Very active player, always pushes for what she wants. Is what she pushes for always best for her? Not always, right? Like, she was a big proponent behind the Jimmy move. It basically got her a hair's, you know, this much away from being evicted, and then she gets saved by Rachel, which, you know, she campaigned. She did a good job campaigning. I think my problem with Morgan is, like, in the jury phase, was she, like, well-connected socially? Does she have a good social game? It's not terrible. I've seen worse. But I don't think she has a good social game. Like, she was working with Rachel, but that bond wasn't ridiculously tight. Her and Will didn't have anything. Kelly and Lauren were targeting her the whole time. Keanu was targeting her the whole time. Ava was targeting her. Like, it feels like it's been this, like, dominant win because she's just won 6 vetoes in a row. And she's had HOH. So, like, she's become invulnerable when I legitimately think, like, she did not have a majority of house guests on her side, like, at all, ever. Everyone targeting her, but almost no one took a shot. Madison, how could you take a shot? How would you take it? Like, when could someone take a shot?
Lauren did, and then she won the veto. Like,
Yeah, like, it's impossible. Like, okay, final 9, Rachel just gets booted out of the game. That's very good for Morgan. That was huge for Morgan, frankly. At the final 8, who's HOH? Lauren targets Morgan. Morgan wins the veto. And then she's immune every week, right? She controlled the endgame. So did Jag. It's the same exact thing, Jag and Morgan in the endgame. It genuinely is the exact same. Like, I don't know what, like, I mean, like, Jag controlled the endgame. He also was everyone's target. I think Morgan had more outs than Jag. Obviously. Everyone knows that. People just like Morgan better than they like Jag. Even on the outside. Yeah, I agree. Vince is her Bowie. Vince is his own thing. Like, I don't... Vince is not a GOAT. You know, he's not a good player. He's just this weird, like, kind of super active, self-interested, but, like, not at all. He's a weird one. He'd be a really interesting, like, case study for a Big Brother player. Like, I can't make much sense of what he's doing. Ashley goes over Will for sure without Morgan. I mean, you know, like, when the numbers get this small, every vote matters, right? You can give her credit for that. I don't mind. I think Rachel leaving, which basically gave Vince's side a massive amount of power, helped her. It helped a lot because Rachel was one of the only counteracting forces in the game. But also, it didn't matter at all because Morgan still comps out. Like, no matter, like, however you want to change the strategy of the season or the twists, Morgan wins 7 vetoes. I think she's just won number 6, number 5, what was that? She voted right every single time. That means nothing to me. It's better than voting wrong. Getting Vince to put up Lauren is just an undeniably flashy move. Yeah, I think that's her best move of the season. I'll give her that. I think Morgan's good. I'm just thinking of, like, ranking her all time, and I'm just like, I don't know where she goes. Like, just, okay, gut check. We have 26 winners of the show, not counting Eddie. I'm not asking you guys to do the full ranking, but, like, where-ish? Because, I want to be honest, like, you know, you have situations where I don't remember, like, all these old players' flaws in the way I know Morgan's flaws, right? 15th? I think, like, 15th is right. 15th, 16th. When you say upper middle, what do you mean?
13. I would say, like, half is 13.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess, like, 13, 12.
I cannot get there. Bottom third. I think she's, like, the top of the bottom third. If she wins, she's top 10. I think that's crazy. I just think it's like she was so close to being evicted straight up, which, you know, all the other players like that are much lower. And she's a comp beast. Like, that is what she is. She's like a comp beast who plays really actively, but very flawed, right? Like, and here's the thing, like, it's almost unfair to Morgan because I would just give her more credit if she didn't win all these comps. Which is like, obviously it was good for her to win the comps. Like, it would have been super stupid of her not to. So, like, I feel like I'm holding it against her, even though that's not fair. But, like, how am I supposed to evaluate any player when they're just immune from the final 8?
Okay, I know you said you didn't want to get into an actual number, but I'm looking at the list of winners, and I can see, like, 11.
I mean, June is much better.
So, I did Will. I think Lisa. June.
You're giving Lisa is better than Morgan?
I thought Lisa was
I think
good.
I don't know how you're putting... I mean, if you're... Okay, just keep going. Let me hear this list.
Okay, I thought Will, Lisa, June, I don't really remember 5, but Maggie.
Yeah, for sure.
Up there. I would put Dan up there.
Yeah.
Andy, Derek, Steve, Nicole.
Well, Hayden has to be up there.
Yeah, I don't remember 12 much, but Hayden. So what is that?
I would say Morgan's better than Lisa, I feel.
Okay, so but how many is that? Like, I don't know, that's like 12, 13.
But then it's like Derek, I think Steve's a good amount better.
Yeah, I did Steve and Nicole.
I think Nicole's better.
That was like 10, 11, and then...
I think Casey's better for what it's worth, which...
You think Casey's better?
Casey and her, like, I prefer Morgan a lot.
But Casey had that big-ass alliance insulating her, so I'm like, I think Morgan's better in that sense.
Here's what I'll say. I'll bet on Casey round 2 over Morgan. I think Cody and Chelsea, obviously. Xavier, I don't know.
Anywhere from 13 to 15, I guess.
I can't have Casey more than Morgan. I get it. That's just kind of a preference thing. Like, I prefer Morgan's playstyle, but, like, you know. But do you guys get what I'm saying? Like, I just think it's really frustrating to me that I can't evaluate these. Because I'm a nerd. I like ranking and, like, thinking about these guys' games. But Morgan's game is ruined by the fact that she won all these comps. Which is not fair to her. Like, you know, she's going to get the money. She's not going to care about my ranking. But, like, how do you... how good was Morgan's game? I don't know. Like, Jag was playing the middle. Was he? Was anyone going to keep him safe outside of his two allies? Maybe they would have. Blue might have. I don't know. Suri might have evicted Jag, keeping Matt, and that would have elevated Matt's game. Like, we just don't get any of these interesting outcomes because, like, people just comp out. And I think the question then becomes, like, okay, how do you fix it? Right? And I genuinely don't know. There's not a super easy solution. Even with comps being equitable, I think these outcomes are pretty similar. Ava just sucks. Ashley's just bad at comps. I'm bad at comps. America wasn't good at comps. Felicia and Sri are just bad. Like, at a certain point, it's not comp design's problem. It's just like the structure of the end game and how some humans are better than other humans at stuff. So it's just kind of lazy. You know, I think the easiest fix I can think of, that doesn't fix everything, but it helps, the HOH just should not get to play in the veto. There's no reason why they should be able to. And while, like, Morgan could still comp out, it would just give other players a little bit of power. When Morgan's the Final Four HOH, she can't also win the veto. How long do we think Rachel stays in there without a terrible twist? I think she probably gets 8th or 7th. Like, ultimately, it would be when does Morgan want to target her? When does Morgan and Vince turn on her? I think Lauren's HOH is very dangerous for Rachel. But that's another part about Morgan's game that's just kind of unfortunate, where just like Rachel just got flung out and she was the best player of the season. And here's what I'll say, and this is maybe where I think, I don't want people to think I'm a Morgan hater. Like, I think Morgan's pretty good. You know, if I'm ranking players this season, I'm going to do that. I'm excited for that stream. I always enjoy it. Ranking everyone from the season. I think Morgan is going to be number 1 over Rachel. And the reason is competitions just matter. Like, Rachel wasn't good at comps and Morgan was great. And it just matters a lot. Where's Morgan ranked compared to Taylor? I think Morgan has a stronger game than Taylor. She just had more agency, but like even that was competitions. Like, and here's why I empathize a lot with the players. I think people underrate how much aura you gain from winning competitions in the house. Like, I left Big Brother thinking Jag was a really good player. Now, I was there when he did everything bad, and when he made all these mistakes, and he was messy and screwed up and got evicted. Like, I was there. But when he wins so many comps in a row, and he's always in a position of power, and he's always making decisions, it feels like you're talking to someone who's better than you. Or who's in, like, a better spot, or who's, like, a better player, like, all these things. So, like, I understand why people are, like, putting Morgan to such high esteem. Like, she's just been in no danger. She hasn't had to play scrappy. She's just hanging out. But it's just because of the comps. Like, it really is. So I think for me, I think Morgan is a better player than Rachel just because of competitions. I think Rachel played a better Big Brother game socially, strategically, but, like, it's just silly to pretend, like, that matters as much nowadays, right? But again, what's super obvious to me is HOH can't play in veto. I think that's the easiest fix immediately that they can make. The other thing is just, like, more luck-based competitions, but I do understand, like, that is kind of silly. I think we all say, like, we want all crapshoots, all HOHs, but, like, that would look stupid. You know what I mean? She would have been safe at the final 7 and 5 with Vince's HOH. Well, no, that's the thing. Like, this is how the endgame has worked the past 3 seasons. On Big Brother 25, Jag and Bowie and Matt won every HOH from the final 9 to the end. Really, Jag and Bowie won 6 of the last 7 HOHs. Okay, and then we go to BB25, or BB26. Chelsea and MJ won the last 5 HOHs, back to back to back to back. This season, Morgan and Vince have won the past 4 HOHs back-to-back, almost guaranteed a 5th. Right, so it's just like, the endgame's been boring. And here's the other part that I think is important, is like, when people talk about the blockbuster, I think everyone's come to the conclusion that we don't like the blockbuster as much, right? Fuck the blockbuster. I don't want it back. I think the blockbuster is a good twist. And, like, I think if they got rid of the blockbuster next year and it went back to 2 nominees, that would be diabolical. people would be so bored. I promise week 1, when the vote is obvious, people are going to be super, this is so boring, bring back the blockbuster. Obviously, it goes too long. I think we all agree on that. But I do think the blockbuster in general, it does more good than bad in the grand scheme of things. It helps when the blockbusters are equitable, but, like, even still, like, what are you going to do? Comp Beast only starts winning in the last 30% of the season. She wasn't throwing either. The comps just thinned out, much less impressive. That's just how every Comp Beast works. They stack up wins at the end. Start with 30 house guests, double evictions every week. That would just be miserable. Mostly for the house guests. Do you think the blockbuster takes away blindsides? I think it creates blindsides. Is the whole point of it. Because you have to play nice with everybody. You can't tell someone you're voting them out. Because they might win the blockbuster and stay. So you have to kind of lie to everyone. And then blindside them because you don't have enough time to tell them. It's not Big Brother. Yeah, I mean, I get that. Look, I understand the purist side of things. It's just like, you guys think they're getting rid of the blockbuster. Yeah, and straight up, I think Morgan had good competition. I do believe, like, there's some people who are just better competitors than Morgan from recent seasons. But I think Morgan and MJ are very comparable. You know what I mean? But Morgan's a comp beast. Like, I mean, come on. She won 5 years in a row. I think people underrate Jag as a comp beast because they didn't compete against him. Like, I don't think you guys understand his Big Brother Comics time makes no fucking sense. Beat Morgan by 5 minutes. Like, that is, just that alone is the most ridiculous thing of all time. Cody's hosting the roundtable. I guess they didn't want Taylor to have, like, triple duty. But Chelsea would have been a good pick. Cody's a weird one. I mean, they love Cody. They always bring him back for stuff, but BB25 comics was easier. I looked at the comics. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I mean, it's the same comp every time, guys. And, like, unless the only difference is, like, how easy it is to spot the differences, but those are pretty easy. Like, but it's just that I mean, he was just good. Did America really get it in one shot, like on the edit, but still lose? Yeah, by 3 minutes. Jag should do it. I don't know about that. I think Cody might be a bit better than Jag at this gig. Is this a safe place to talk about TikTok casual? Sure, go for it. Go for it. Let's look at the Reddit. There were some interesting posts here. Let me share my screen. I think everything's good. So it's like, just normal stuff. This is the thing about the judges that pissed me off. Big Brother Canada 12 is nominated for Best Non-Scripted Entertainment. Actually, was a good season for having no feeds. This got to be the worst post in Reddit history, right? This has to be genuinely the worst post I've ever seen. Jury live feeds. Come on, give us a break. Press teasers were just a lie. Yeah. Do people even want, like, the theme to play more of a role? Or are people just complaining to complain? Does anyone actually care? Izzy suggested it on an episode recap. I think Izzy is one of a kind. She's a sicko, and I mean that in the best way. Like, I don't think the live feeds affected her one bit in the house. You know what I mean? She was just hanging out. She didn't care about the cameras being on. She was living her exact same life, saying the exact same shit. Like, for everyone else. And also, I think, when you're there for an extra 30-something days, but I still think Izzy would have been fine. Leaving day 100, she wouldn't have minded. But the jury live feeds would be genuinely terrible. There'd be nothing to watch, and it would just be so harsh on the house guests. It turned from hotel theme to mastermind theme. Well, it was murder mystery was the whole idea. Jury should be able to watch the live feeds. I think that's what's the reason why they no, I don't think you can do that. I mean, I think the whole point is like you players lose the ability to be able to like frame their game any kind of way. Also, that'd be annoying because like jurors would feel like they have homework. I'm imagining like we'd feel like we have to watch the feeds. Oh, I'd hate that. Are y'all going live on Patreon later? Yeah, we'll upload something on Patreon today. I'm not sure if we're to go live after the episode because the episode's so long and it's late and I have school in the morning. Like, but we'll post something on the Patreon tonight. I'm gonna be live for a bit. I don't think I'll be live for the whole episode, but we'd love the Halloween costume jury live feeds. You guys would be underwhelmed. Thank you, Burzlinger. Hope you're doing well. How's law school? Interesting. Are you guys sensing a certain vibe with me today? Let me know. Are you guys picking up a vibe? Tell me what the vibe is. And if you have a really mean word in mind, come up with a slightly nicer version of that word. Irritated. See, that's a mean word. Pessimistic, stressed, grumpy. I just feel kind of shit. Academic suspension. I wish. I just feel kind of empty and hollow and bad. Yeah. It's not that bad. Like, it's fine. Do you guys just ever get the feeling of, like, get back from school, work, law school, whatever it is, and then you're like, all right, now what? Like, I feel like when I get back, I want to do nothing. And then the idea of doing something makes me miserable because I'm tired and I don't want to do anything. But then doing nothing doesn't make you feel much better. I think I'm describing depression. The way I'm saying it out loud. It's just kind of like, is America living while you are dying? Well, I feel like, America is very accommodating and like whatever I want to do, she's down. It's just like, I feel bad. Like I get back and she's like, all right. Here we are. And I'm just literally like Drosselmeyer in the Nutcracker. I'm like, it's adulting? Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think I'm just in a bit of a rut more than anything else. You have to push through that feeling. I'm going to. Like, I'll be fine. I've felt worse recently. Like, this isn't that bad. I told America I used to pray for times like this, but it's a sleep thing. Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it, but I've been sleeping a good amount of hours for a law student. I get like 8 hours. I try to go to bed early, Went through the same thing getting my master's. I think what's just hard about it is like, and this is going to sound very dark, but there's no end in sight. What's the end in sight? Death? And, like, I mean, like, when I'm old. Like, because it's like, all right, law school's 3 years. So if that's the end in sight, that's pretty brutal. And I think something that's a little bit tough about Northeastern is, because that sounded darker than I meant to say, you know what I mean? Like, it never ends, right? And I think the part that bums me out about, like, Northeastern specifically is you don't get summers off. You know what I mean? So Northeastern is unique in the sense of you get classes and then you have co-ops. Co-ops is like you go to an internship, you go work a job for the duration of a semester. So this spring I've got classes. The summer I might, or like the next fall, I might just go and work somewhere at whatever hours and it'll be very different. I have no classes, no studying, nothing like that. The trade-off is you don't get summers. So, like in the summer, you're either doing classes or on co-op. Next fall, you're doing classes or co-op. And then it keeps just going until you graduate. So there's really no, break ever, which I understand. That's how being an adult works. You don't get a break from your job if you want to get paid. Like, I think you're coming off a little bit condescending, Indo, to be honest. Like, I think we all understand that, like, a 9 to 5 working year-round, like, that is what life in the U.S. is. I do also think it's reasonable to be miserable and dislike that. Like, I think it's one of those things where it's like, oh my God, I had such a shitty day. And then someone's like, yeah, everyone has shitty days. So what are you going to do about it? It's like, no, Vegas will be fun. I feel okay. Like, it's not that bad. It's just like, it is a weird feeling of just, I feel kind of hollow and empty and, weirdly enough, I think when Big Brother ends, it'll maybe even be worse. Because, like, at least Big Brother, there's something there, Something interesting happening. I'll keep quiet. No, it's fine. But I hope you understand what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be, rude. Not you coming on stream using it as a therapy session. Well, it's less that, and it's more like, I was telling America, I was excited to stream today because you gotta fake it and force it and be a little bit happier and jokey and whatever. And often that, like, you fake it till you make it. Like, you trick yourself, you're smiling, you're laughing, the dopamine hits. Like, it does work. But then I was just, like, looking at myself. I'm, like, looking at the Streamlabs right now, and I'm like, yeah, I look kind of miserable. So I guess I'm just explaining that. What are you watching after Dexter? The originals. That'll be good. Something to look forward to, actually. For political reasons, kind of demoralizing. I think on stream, when Big Brother ends, I'm going to be making some less reality content. Just because there's less going on, obviously. I'll still be doing Big Brother streams every, at least once a week, probably. But there are just some, like, life things I want to talk about that I think are pretty funny. Have you guys seen Trump's lawsuit to the New York Times? Because it's so fucking funny. It's so good. Trump sues the New York Times, and he issues his complaint. Now, what a complaint is in law is just like a short, brief explanation of what you're suing someone for. Like, what's your claim? So, Trump's making a defamation suit against the New York Times, and his complaint was 85 pages. The claims are on page 83 and 85. And all he talks about is he's like, how good The Apprentice was, how awesome he is, how he's like the most triumphant person of all time, and how the New York Times is full of the woke mob. And it is one of those things where it's just extremely discouraging of like, again, Trump being an idiot doesn't affect, like, that doesn't make me feel, like, we know that. Like, he's the worst, right? Like, we know he's stupid. He's an idiot. But I'm feeling like, as I did during the election, where it's like, damn, how the fuck do people vote for him and, like, not even go to sleep at night? Like, bad people are bad. Like, that's fine. But, like, how do you reason to yourself that you're voting for him? Like, genuinely, I think how do you sleep at night's the wrong question. It's like, if someone, like, asks you questions about why you voted for him, what are the answers? Uneducated and misinformed? Yeah, it's... Look, I think this is like an ivory tower position of privilege blind spot I have, clearly. But I just don't get it. Like, it's... Because here's the thing, like, I would understand if Trump was more talented at what he does. I think in 2016, Trump was pretty good as a politician. Not in terms of, like, making the world a better place. He made it a much worse place. But in terms of, like, playing towards his base and being super inflammatory and being a populist and things like that. But he's just, like, such a loser now. He's just lame. You know, like he's just dumb. And he's, like, genuinely a child in how he acts. And then you have the other side of it, which is the Democratic Party, where it's like, y'all went with Biden. That was the play. And then Biden literally couldn't make a speech and you pivoted to Kamala Harris. Like, talk about just throwing in the fucking towel. There's been some cases I've been reading that are so, like, you know what part of it might be? I'm getting very disenchanted with the law. And I think this is an experience that all lawyers go through, because obviously I've always understood that, like, the law is not a... it's not morally neutral. Like, it's made by people, it's enforced by people, it's argued by people, right? So, like, racist people will make racist law. Treating the law as an objective standard is stupid. But when I'm reading some of these cases, I'm like, these people are fucking insane. There was this case, Ashcroft versus Iqbal. Very simple case. It was post 9/11. This guy, Iqbal, was arrested, detained. He was Pakistani. So there's no even theoretical links to Al-Qaeda. Like, you know, just being profiled. He's arrested, put in this detention center. Not arrested. He's put in a detention center, questioned, terrible conditions, stuff like that, right? And then he sues and is like, this is fucked up. You were basically just targeting me and tens of thousands of other people because of the color of our skin and, you know, theoretically our religion, even though some people aren't even Muslim, whatever. And then the court's answer to that, and this is like, we were kind of taught this is like correct. The court's answer is like, well, we're not persecuting you because you're an Arab Muslim. We're persecuting you because 9/11 was done by Arab Muslims and you're also Arab Muslims, which, you know, it's not because of your race and religion. It's just because the people who did this happen to be that. So, like, it makes... And I'm just sitting there and, like, I raised my hand and I was like, did you just tell me that these people are not being profiled? They're just fitting of a profile. Is that the understanding I'm supposed to accept? Just to be clear, this is what I'm learning. I got very annoyed. Some kids came up to me after class and were like, yeah, you're right. This pissed me off too. And I was like, all right, I appreciate that. But damn, I was annoyed. The issue is such a small issue in the grand scheme of things. It affects like 0.01% of the country. What issue are you talking about, McLean? I'll never understand racist people at all. I'm not going to say I disagree with that, but like the idea that people are racist, like it's very easy for me to accept that people are just bad. Like that makes sense to me. Like, okay, there's bad people out there, sure. You know, I think it's just harder, like, learning about a field I'm going to go into where, like, it doesn't feel, like, I've never been in an experience where I feel like what I'm being taught is wrong. You know what I mean? Right after 9/11. I hear you, hey, bub, and that's what I was thinking too, but it was 2009, which is like, that's a lot, you know. Are we still in the post 9/11 world in 2009? And then someone asked the question being like, well, yeah, it's probably post 9/11 world, tensions were high. Do you think that case would be decided now differently? And I'm like, yeah, in the Clarence Thomas, Amy Coney Barrett, Brett Kavanaugh court, probably not. Might be worse. And that's the other thing. It's like, how am I supposed to read these decisions thinking any of it fucking has anything to do with the law or like precedent or judicial philosophy when I'm reading Clarence Thomas's decisions and he's just like literally a MAGA Republican? Amy Coney Barrett and Brett Kavanaugh are like, and again, there's nothing wrong with being religious, but they're like Christian zealots. It's like you could make any legal argument to justify anything. I assume the people who voted for Trump don't care if he implements transphobic policy, which to me says that they don't care about trans people, and that pisses me off because trans people deserve better than that. I mean, obviously, trans rights are a huge issue that, you know, Trump has actively done everything to make things worse. Another one is immigration, where, like, literally they're using immigration hearings as traps for undocumented immigrants. They'll be like, hey, come into court so we can sort this out the good old-fashioned American way. We can follow the rules, do everything by the book. And then ICE is waiting outside. Huh? It's just like... And this, again, I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound super elitist. Do you know why? Because it is. I hate that stupid-ass people have so much power. It makes me annoyed. And now we're back to Big Brother. Because winning You guys get what I'm saying. I will say, Republicans are not going to win next election. I feel confident about that. The economy is going to be just terrible, and that's the only thing Americans care about. And it'll swing to Democrats, and then it'll swing back. Like, it's just this is how it works. But what competitions did Sarah Palin win? Yeah. The men and women's sports issue is one of the big reasons he won. I could not disagree more. I think that's a dog whistle. That's a big media story. It's stupid. It's goofy. But, like, it's the economy. He won because of the economy. The economy was bad and a Democrat was in charge. I think that's it. You know? I genuinely think if a Republican was in charge for the last 4 years, a Democrat would have won. That's my perspective on it, hey, bub. I think, that's the determining factor in almost every election. Because, like, people aren't able to think past level one. It's like, and this is partially due to Democrats being much less effective than Republicans, which I think we could all agree. Like, I want Democrats in office over Republicans, but Democrats do nothing. Republicans do evil. And that's not like an overstatement. That's not me overreacting. Like, Democrats had the House, Senate, and the presidency and did nothing. The autism epidemic that is going to be solved with removing Tylenol. That's what they're saying. First of all, the autism epidemic is just so problematic in and of itself, just linguistically. Like, that is just insane. And then you just hear Trump in this press conference, and he has nothing to say. He's just like, yeah, I have a lot of experience with these things. I've always been interested in the autism issue. It's a sad issue. It's a terrible issue. And yeah, I don't want to speak for the Surgeon General, but we've run some tests, and he's just so stupid. Like, you hear him talk, and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, he's not, like, in 2016, he was sharper. He wasn't smart. He wasn't even, like, average. But he wasn't this. Because just, like, he's surrounded by people who are just, like, yes men all the time. It's crazy. Of course, Shay. It's like, yeah, I actually talked to my mom about this, and I hope my mom doesn't mind me talking about it. But, like, and my mom used to be, like, when in regards to mental health, kind of like oh my God, people these days have so many more issues than people in the past. And I've basically been like, no, it's just like people know it's a thing now. So it's something you could be diagnosed with, something you can be medicated for, things like that. And then, Molly had some issues that they've been, like, working through, and she's doing so much better on the cheer team. Let's go, Molly. And now I think it's like, oh, I see now. Okay, this is a thing. I think for a lot of people, it just takes, like, personal experience to fully buy into it, Okay, but his hands at this point are so blue. He's reminding me of William Afton in that FNAF 6 minigame where he just falls apart by the end. That could be the worst comment in the history of my Twitch chat. You said Trump is purple, guy? Also, the acetaminophen, no shame in that. Mimi couldn't pronounce acetaminophen. It annoys me so much because my dad is a Trump supporter, and the fact that he supports someone who treats autism like that when he has 3 autistic sons is blood boiling. Yeah, I empathize. I mean, I don't even know if I can empathize that. I'm very fortunate to have, like, politically normal parents, but that is tough. Yeah, there's been, like, one study in Finland that was disproven. Yeah, Mimi is very smart, too. I'm also not, like, I'm not going to watch the episode doesn't matter until, like, the last 30 minutes, right? I'll be live for another 20, 30 minutes, and then I'll film something with America for the Patreon. It'll be Big Brother related. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, but we'll figure something out. Did you guys enjoy Big Brother Canada? Because we enjoyed it a lot. I will say, those first 2 episodes, there was, like, nothing to show us. Like, they didn't show us any strategy, but the little bit of drama was so fun. Ika's hilarious. I forgot how much I like Cassandra. Like, it's just great. The most diabolical twist of all time, though. Karen's the goat. No spoilers in here because America is also in the other room. Probably listening. Isn't your birthday on Monday? It is. I know 2 people who have the same birthday as me. America, we might have plans this weekend with a friend of mine from law school as my birthday. Do you think when BB ends, you guys might start up the podcast again? I don't ever want to like just loosely commit to something. Here's what I'll say is we're going to start promoting the Patreon a lot more because we need to. And the schedule just needs to be more consistent. It's basically my fault. Like, I hope you got, like, I've just been in a rut and it's kind of manifested in the page. Like, you know, I don't want to say it's all me, but like, so I just don't want to commit to anything. But I do think we have to get the uploads just to be consistent on a weekly basis. That's pretty crazy that it's not, and that's my bad. The podcast specifically, I just think especially with the Derek and Claire news, which seemingly has nothing to do with us, like it really doesn't. I just hate being a public couple in that way. And like, is that incongruent with having a couple's Patreon? Yes, I think. Like, I think that hypocrisy is there. Like, we're making money off of a Cory Patreon, but we don't want to be a public couple. Like, that doesn't make sense, and I understand that. So it's just going to be about, like, figuring out if there's a way to do the podcast that I feel comfortable with, that she feels comfortable with, or seeing if there's other things that could be worthwhile. America's floated some ideas. I have a couple, but, like, I'm not exactly certain how we're going to do it. Last piece of advice, you get nowhere when you call as voters uneducated. Just proves the point in our eyes that most people get indoctrinated in college and we think you're just as much part of a cult as you think we are. I do understand that calling people uneducated feels condescending. I understand that. I think it's a bad rhetorical strategy. But I'm also not trying to do anything right now, McLean. I'm complaining. Now, I would argue that what I'm doing in terms of being condescending to people who are less privileged and have less of an educational background than me is not as bad as what theoretically you are doing in voting for someone who wants to deport children outside of immigration court. I would argue that there's an imbalance in those two bad actions. So while I appreciate your advice, I have some advice for you too as well. And that advice is to be a better fucking person. He's PR trained. Dan, you typed that out way too early, Megan. You typed that out way too early. Anywho, that's how I feel about that. Where's your NFL stream? Honestly, Nathan, I want to pivot to just do sports content to 5 people, but I won't do it. Don't worry. Sports is my favorite thing outside of America right now. My favorite thing is watching Dexter at night with America. That's my favorite thing. My second favorite thing is sports. We're going to the Patriots game on Sunday. Patriots-Panthers. It was so funny. So we were going to see... I'm just going to... I don't think this is a secret. America got me Lord tickets for my birthday. It was a very, very sweet gift. I was excited. It was going to be fun. I didn't even find out about this. It was a surprise until America's like, oh shit, we got the podcast on Friday. Because while we're not doing Unlocked, we're doing another podcast on Friday with RHAP. Should be fun. And I was like, look, I don't even love this album that much. Like, it's spending a ton of money versus making money by doing the podcast. Like, I think it's okay for us to, sell the Lord tickets and figure something else out. So then we look at I'm like, okay, it's Sunday. Is there a Patriots game? Because this is like the last time the weather's going to be okay. And I saw they were playing the Panthers, and I was like, fuck yeah. Those tickets are going to be cheap as hell. And they weren't even that cheap because we got nice tickets, but like, that'll be a good time. Shout outs to America. McLean, like, look, feel free to say your political affiliation in the chat if you want. If you don't want, like, it doesn't matter to me, but, like, you can't expect to make the comments you're making and not expect assumptions. Like, I don't think that's unreasonable. Bryce Young has, like, 7 wins in 3 seasons, but he's a very nice kid, so you got to give him that. I'm Antifa. Drop the voter registration. And look, don't, like, dogpile on this person, chat. It doesn't matter. Like, there's bigger issues, but, you know. I don't think I came to an inappropriate conclusion. I voted for Jill Stein. I think a lot of people are well-intentioned. That's the end of my comment. That is the final thing, I will say. But shady. No, it's, you know, I understand. Like, here's the thing. I genuinely understand saying I refuse to vote for Joe Biden or Kamala Harris because of a myriad of issues. I think the most popular one is because of, their actions in Palestine, their actions towards Palestine. Like, I understand not being able to vote for someone who's doing that. I get it. I'm just more of a pragmatic person where it's like my vote of protest, I feel like, is less important than, like, voting for one of the 2 outcomes that are possible, you know? I was worried about the environment. Here's what I will say. Trump has made other issues so bad that no one even cares about the environment anymore. And look, I'm obviously pro green environmental policy just in general, top to bottom, basically. But I do think it's like no one cares about that issue as much as other issues because it's not as relevant to their lives. Obviously, climate change and the consequences that'll come with it are approaching faster than people would like to admit. But, like, I think individuals feel pretty hopeless in that regard, whereas other issues feel a little bit more solvable in the short term. Yeah, no, certainly Jacksoni. That makes sense. There's a Keanu interview. Damn, they move quick. They already had an interview? Or I guess he got evicted, right? This is the final 4. I'll take those points too, Jerry. Patriots look ass. Thank you, JPR, for the gift. I appreciate it. Any final Big Brother thoughts before I get offline? A weird stream. It was an odd one. Do you believe in Bryce Young as a starter? Absolutely not. I think he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He's had, like, some okay stretches, but he's terrible. He's way too small. I like my quarterbacks large, big, hunky men. Or Kyler Murray. Yeah, I got to do a digital daily tonight. I'll knock one out. Do you have hope for next season being better? Guys, I sound super negative. This season slapped. This was a fire Big Brother season. I'm sorry. I saw people, because first of all, my last couple of live feed updates, I've killed it. Let me just say, great updates. But people are like, oh my God, Cory wants a callback, doesn't he? He really wants to get back on the show saying this season's good. This season is fucking good, y'all. Like, 26 is not in the same ballpark as this season. 26 was ass. This was really fun. 25, I like it. You can't argue 25 is better than 27. You just can't. 24, I don't think it's close. 23, not close. 22, not close. 21, not close. 20, I think has a really strong argument. I would lean towards BB20 over 27, but it's in that tier. Like, I really think it is, like, a very high-tier season. I think what BB20 has over 27 is, like, first of all, a more interesting endgame, which is crazy because that's Big Brother 20's, like, criticism. But the strategy in 20 was so much better than 27. Like, there was some genuinely strong players doing cool things. And it wasn't just Tyler. Like, Brett had some stuff going on. JC had a ton going on. Haley, as an underdog, was very fun to watch. Like, I think 27, they've kept the drama for this post-jury phase, which is more than you could, usually expect. But the games just died. And BB20 has less, like, black marks against it. Right? Like, BB20 just has a boring endgame. BB27 has White Locust and the Blockbuster till the final 6 and all these things. So genuinely, I think this is a top 10 season. Like, what seasons are better? 20's better, 17's better, 14's better, 12, I don't know what to do with ever. 10's better, 7's better, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, I think it comfortably gets in my top 10. And, like, I just prefer these kinds of seasons to old school seasons in general. Like, I like this more than BB2. But I'll give it some respect. How are the Cory Wittenberg streams looking after BB season ends? They're going to be tougher. I'll be honest. I don't know what I'm going to stream. Just because, like, I'm going to have to prep a lot more for each stream because there's not, like, Big Brother just happening in the background to talk about. So I think I'm just going to have to commit to, like, 2 to 3 days a week and figure out some sort of schedule, Brant Steele's Vanguard, you pop in twice a month to talk about Brant Steele's, and I respect it. NFL Games Reaction, my sole viewer, Nathan. Talk about torts? Absolutely not. I'd rather talk about torts than property, though. Law school streams, Dexter recap streams. I don't know. I think I would, I'd have to figure something out. But I will. You guys know me. I'm pretty good at coming up with concepts. But I'm not going to stop streaming. So, you ain't got to worry about that. Maybe it'll be more like rewatches and stuff. Like watching stuff on stream. But I think what's difficult about that sometimes is, like, people are not caught up. Like, if you come into a stream and I'm watching something you haven't watched the previous episodes, viewership just sucks. It has to be something that's so big picture. Or, like, I don't know, accessible, I think is the word I'm looking for. I also miss the AI-generated BB seasons. The AI stuff was fun, but, like, first of all, fuck AI, and second, I don't think that could be more fun than it already was. Like, I think that concept has peaked. I don't like that, Jacob. Protect your mental health first. Yeah, I don't want you guys to panic. I'm doing fine. I just feel kind of bleh. It's not that bad. Nothing will ever top the Phoenix Final 2 speech. Yeah. When do you become a Madden streamer? I do play a lot. Maybe I start gaming a bit on stream. I got to figure out just a way to make people care at all about watching. Because I'm not going to pretend like I stream for the love of the game, really. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoy streaming, but, like, I don't think I would enjoy streaming to no viewers. Which, you could maybe psychoanalyze why, I don't know. But, I hope that makes sense. Also, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is pretty awesome. I've been watching it in the background. It's pretty good. Back into FIFA Ultimate Team. Oh, boy, Jerry. Poor wallet. Your poor wallet. But yeah, we'll do a good amount of postseason content. There's a lot to discuss. We got a player ranking coming up that I'm excited to do. There's obviously going to be a BB27 award show we'll do. There's a good amount there. Who's your favorite Mormon wife? I mean, come on. Taylor is the most entertaining person on the show, and it's not close, right? The dice comp is back, yeah. Which is insane that they did such a physical comp, but I digress. Also, one last thing I want to talk about BB-wise is, like, Vince is fascinating to me. This is going to sound like a crazy analogy. Guess who Vince reminds me of? It's another reality TV figure. Not on a competition show. This is a crazy call. No one's made this comparison in my entire life. Tom Sandoval? No. It's Jen Shaw. He's Jen Shaw. Here's why. Remember that season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City where Jen Shaw is like posturing the whole time on the show about how she's not doing tax evasion and tax fraud and stuff? And like you could tell she's not just trying to make TV or explain or do things. Context, Jen Shaw gets arrested for tax issues, and then she still has a season going on while this is happening, the arrest and like the litigation and stuff. And she's like in confessional talking about how she did nothing wrong, right? And how it was actually this person. And it was very clear she was like setting up a legal defense in the court of public opinion on the show. I think that's what Vince is doing, where like Vince framing this as Kelsey broke up with me, therefore I was put into this position, I was abandoned, when all I did was like some innocuous, innocent flirting. Like it feels like he's literally like posturing on the show for real life, which is weird to watch. It's interesting. It's interesting. But I thought it was weird. I do like Vince's confessionals though. Like I appreciate how genuine might be the wrong word, but he's like incredibly vulnerable, which that's just kind of how he is. But like, it's the opposite of Derek Levasseur, who goes in there and like lies. You know, he goes in there and is like, I actually wanted this to happen when he didn't. Vince goes in there and is like, yep, this is really bad for my life outside of the house. And I was like, that's interesting. Do you think the jury votes Vince over Ashley? Yeah. I think Ashley does win. Sorry, I might have said that backwards. I think Ashley beats Vince. But I think it's close. Like, I think Ashley, and this is just my opinion, I think Ashley is pretty clearly the third best player on the season. I think she is much better than everyone before her and much worse than Rachel and Morgan. But I do think she's overrated. She's getting to that point a little bit. And again, like, comps are so much of a factor that she can't really do anything. So it's not really her fault. I just think, like, it's a lot easier to maneuver through the game when no one respects you. And they don't respect her for, like, reasons that are pretty out of her control. Like, I don't think she definitely hasn't warranted the disdain she has from Vince. But, like, it kind of reminds me of Cam from last season. She's better as a strategist. Cam is better socially, to be fair. But, like, they both just, on the outside, look like they were playing a better game than on the inside because our perception is so different from the house guest's perception. Like, if Ashley was respected more in the house, her game would be less effective. And we would see that and think less of her because we, you know. Does that duality make sense? Like, I feel like Ashley's, like, the player who represents what we want in Big Brother. So, like, we're all cheering for her and rooting for her and wanting her to figure it out. But I think in terms of, like, an actual player, I don't know how much there is. Like, she's a logical player who generally knows what to do. And socially, she's okay. The problem is the comps are just rough. Like, you can't do this in Modern Big Brother and be that bad at comps. And then people are going to say, you suck too, Cory. I'm like, yeah, that's why I lost. that's why I'm a very flawed player. So that's the only thing I want to say about Ashley. Like, I think she's good. I think she's better than Vince by a lot. I just think, like, the pendulum swung a little too far the other way, where it's like, ooh, Ashley's actually kind of running this game. Like, I don't think so. Morgan dominated that comp. I mean, it's, you know, she's good. Does Vince win if he takes Ashley? If Vince no, he can't. I don't think Vince can win. Like, I think if Vince cuts Morgan, he can't win because he loses Morgan. Which, low-key, I think is an argument for a 9-person jury. Because losing one vote is a big problem if Vince cuts Morgan, I think Morgan votes for Ashley, and then I think Ashley, at the very least, has Kelly Keanu. I think she has Will. Has a good shot at Rachel. Good shot at Ava. Like, I'd be surprised if Vince beat Ashley. And the other thing is, like, I totally understand why Vince is going to take Morgan to the end. I think you could argue it's the correct thing to do. Not in terms of giving him a better chance of winning, but, like, can you fucking imagine he cuts Morgan, loses in the end? That's just devastating. Like, that's like, I don't even know how you recover from that. So, like, I get it. He's looking at worst case scenario. I feel like I'm a worst case scenario person there. I don't know. I don't think Vince can win. And, like, if Vince is able to convince himself that he's going to lose to Ashley, like, it's just a non-starter. Yeah, I did see Cody's hosting the jury roundtable. I like Cody. I'm higher on Cody than most, but I think it's a weird choice. I think Tiffany would be better. Chelsea would be better. If we're saying, Taylor is off the table. He did it to himself, though, so it's hard to have sympathy. No, it's just recognizing his current situation. Like, it's not sympathetic, really. It's just, that sucks. Rachel and Will thought he was the best player. Just don't think you know what the jury's thinking, right? I'm sure you all thought you knew what I was thinking because I told you what I was thinking. But then there's just a lot of time in there. Things change. You get more information. People are going to be bitter towards Vince. A random person every year. When you say apparently, did they announce that? Or are you just saying that? Are you, like, reading between the lines? Do you think they unmasked the mastermind at the finale? They better. I'd be pissed if it was just, like, some enigmatic mastermind character with no, like, hidden identity. That'd be so lame. Community is notorious for getting jury votes wrong. It's not the community's fault. It's, like, producer's fault, I guess. Sharon said it. Okay. Mastermind's kind of a lackluster villain. Would you guys prefer a twist villain? Excited for gauges? What's gauges? Vince is beating Ashley, promise. I could see it. Like, I mean, the Vince path to beating Ashley is pretty clear. He keeps Morgan's vote. He gets Lauren's vote. He could still maybe get Keanu's, and then Rachel and Will think he's the much better player. Like, there's a path, but I just think it's much more likely that Ashley wins. Vegas. All right. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, I'm pumped. It's going to be awesome. We're staying at the Venetian. So nice. Was there a 0 chance you would have voted for Bowie at the final 2, even if she had revealed her secret profession? Yeah, there's 0 chance. Against Felicia, I would have voted for her, but not against Matterjag. Are you doing Amazing Race as well, or just Big Brother? No, I'm not watching The Amazing Race. I just feel like I kind of know what happened, so it's kind of... like, even the intrigue and the drama is gone, Go see something in the Sphere. It's crazy. I think it's the Eagles right now, the band, not the team. My favorite Vegas hotel. It was expensive, but I was like, it's my birthday. Let's do it. Is cast the type of cast that would be swayed by speeches answers? Yeah, no, I could see that. Don't say anything's impossible in BB27. I've been burned too many times. Rachel being a house guest shocked me. Riley vote shocked. Like, I've been wrong enough. The rooms are crazy huge. Yeah, there's suites, right? It's going to be cool. Planning on gambling? I don't think I'm going to gamble too much. I'm not a crazy gambler, but restaurants, food, some low-stake slots maybe, just to feel the rush. Nah, America had no idea. I don't think America, even to this day, knows exactly what Suri is as a player. And, like, how could you if you don't watch her seasons? I don't know. She watched Big Brother. You know, she watched 25, so, like, probably has a decent idea. Do you have something big planned for America's 30th since you have Vegas and football? So the Vegas thing actually ended up just happening because of Alex. Alex of Cat and Alex. Alex invited us out for his birthday. And I was like, this is perfect. We have the same birthday. I don't have to plan anything. This is awesome. A lot of my friends are going to be there. For America's trying to figure out something to include all of her friends. She wants to do something big. So obviously I have ideas on my end, but I think she's trying to figure out like what she wants to do. Something tropical, I think, is the vibe. Cardinals will lose tonight. Yeah, that's really what I want to go watch. It's going to be devastating. And they probably will lose because our offensive coordinator is ass. Okay, I'm going to go. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out. Weird stream, you know. Just hanging out, chatting. Tomorrow, be on RHAP. Check that out. Patreon, we're posting stuff. You know, we'll keep posting stuff. Tangent stream, always. Some of the best streams. Sunday finale stream,